We're taking you live to Ballina in New South Wales. The Premier Dominic Perrottet providing an update on the flood situation there.
Still don't know if their homes will be there when they get back or what the extent of that damage will be. So many people just saying, well, you know, there's worse people off than I am, and the concern for other people, for others, particularly in Lismore, Kawakawa, other areas around the Northern Rivers, who are also doing it incredibly tough. For those who have gone through a very difficult time, from my perspective as Premier and up here with the Minister, we'll be doing everything we can. We're currently dealing with the immediate. We're dealing with the shock of the situation. We're dealing with getting people back on their feet into housing. We're still in a situation here in Ballina where telecommunications are down through much of the Northern Rivers. But we will get through this, and then the long journey of the rebuild begins. I want to particularly thank, I had a great opportunity to privately meet with members of the SES here. You know, they have done an absolutely amazing job, just like our members of the State Emergency Services right across our state during this difficult time. But they've been run off their feet. They don't know what day it is. It's all become one. And to hear the stories of the calls that they've had to make, not knowing if the person that they're speaking to at the other end is the last call they'll ever make. It's been incredibly emotional, but they remain incredibly strong. And it's the spirit of the people behind me that I think makes everything great about our state here in New South Wales. And I know as Premier, by speaking to them, it's their courage, it's their bravery, it's their spirit of service that demonstrates why we've been able to get through what has been an incredibly difficult period of time over the last few years. Whether it's been floods, fires, drought, floods again, the pandemic, our people stand strong. And from a government perspective, we're going to be here every step of the way because, yes, there are temporary issues, housing issues, telecommunication issues. The cleanup is now beginning right up here in the Northern Rivers area. Many communities are still isolated, and we're trying to get in as many of them while we're up here. But we will get through this. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a long road, but I have complete confidence, not just based on what I believe the government response will be in making sure we put every single dollar in helping every single person get through this, every single business getting back on its feet. It's going to be a tough journey. But what fills me with confidence is the spirit of the local community, but ultimately the spirit of the volunteers that we have. Someone came across the road earlier on today and he was talking about the need for better government coordination. But he said, you know what steps up when that's not in place, when these shock 1 in 500 year floods occur, the community steps up. And the community, this place in many ways has been run by volunteers for the last week. They've been non-stop since Sunday and they're still here today taking calls. We had telecommunication systems down. We went back to the old ways of doing things up here and they did it. And they rescued many people, saved many lives. And that's a testament to each of the people behind me, the entire teams who have been here. Some of the people behind me have also lost their homes and they're here and have been here for 5 days, 6 days during that period of time, not looking after themselves, looking after the people in their community. And that gives me great hope in terms of the recovery that will come next, and that I know the communities of the Northern Rivers, including right here in Ballina, will come out stronger the other side. A couple of other points. There's a few speakers today. Yesterday we had the first meeting of the Crisis Policy Committee, which went through an entire coordination as we moved through. Certainly acknowledgement, and the key ministers in the government who have portfolio responsibilities for the recovery and beyond know that there is a long journey ahead, and the expectation that the government will be there every step of the way to help our communities through. We made a decision yesterday that we'll be appointing a Minister for Flood Recovery. That minister will be sworn in as soon as she can get back to Sydney, and that will be Steph Cook, in addition to her roles as the Emergency Services Minister. She will be the Minister in charge of flood recovery for our state, in coordinating all the various agencies, all the various issues that occur across the board. We've done that in the past, and I think it's incredibly important that the public service understand that there is a key person who doesn't just coordinate from a ministerial perspective those areas of the government, but in addition to that, all ministers in my cabinet who will have a role to play in ensuring that every single person gets through this difficult time. Finally, I'd like to make the point that we're obviously still seeing difficult conditions right across our state. This flood event, wherever you are in New South Wales, is not over. Please do not be complacent. When there are evacuation warnings in place, please follow those instructions. When there are evacuation orders in place, please leave. Please don't drive through floodwaters. We expect to see flash flooding over the course of the week. In Sydney, could have been much worse yesterday. We're very fortunate that it was not as bad as we anticipated. Obviously, we are still concerned about the Hawkesbury and Nepean area and flash flooding in other areas, and including particularly the Central Coast and Hunter regions. Steph Cook will provide some further information to that. But it's not the time to be complacent. Following those instructions helps save lives, protects you and your family, and particularly in addition to that as well, it protects these guys behind me. The guys who put their life on the line protecting people and keeping them safe. And the best thing that we can do to help those volunteers that every single day put their life on the line to look after us is to follow the instructions that they provide, the advice that they're providing in, and that will ensure that we continue to get through this. So finally, I just want to say, today being here is difficult. It certainly gives me a great perspective of the challenges that have been faced over the past 6 days, and more importantly, the challenges that we'll face over the many long months ahead. But we will get through this. The spirit is high. And I just want to end hearing some of the stories today and the emotion that many of these members have gone through in saving lives, in putting their lives on the line to get people through. In some ways, though, fills me with great spirit, knowing that the Australian spirit is alive and well in Ballina and right across our state.